oh boy, would I hate to live in Egypt. I mean, do you want to live in Egypt? How much money could I pay you to go move to Egypt? I mean, to be honest, it's not in my bucket list, but the Torah tells us that Yaakov, Jacob, our patriarch, when he got news from his son Joseph, that he was alive and well and he was in Egypt, and he said, come on down to Egypt with the entire family, 70 souls. I will support everybody. I'm the viceroy of Egypt. I'll support everybody with all their needs. Yaakov went down, spent 17 years in Egypt. Okay, sometimes people move places where they have no choice. He needed to support his family. But the Torah tells us the 17 best years of his life, of Yaakov's life, yes, you're hearing right. The 17 best years of Yaakov's life were in Egypt. And the great sages ask, how is that possible? I mean, the Holy Land, the Promised Land, the godly land is the land of Israel. Egypt was a place they had to move to just because of convenience, because of the famine. Economically, they needed to move to Egypt as a relocation that you would assume they would live there cringing and being unhappy and being unsatisfied. But we're told that Yaakov had the 17 best years of his life. How does that work? And here's what the Torah teaches us. Yaakov spent those years of his life surrounded with his children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren, who were all following in the path of Yaakov's teaching. They were living a life of spirituality. They were studying Torah. They were doing good deeds. They were raising their children without a generation gap. There was a continuum. There was an environment of holiness which they had created, a halo around them. They had created an island of holiness in a place of depravity. So here's something which is so compelling if you think about it. It's not just about where you live. It's about the environment you create within which you live, the context from within which you live your life. Today there are so many digital nomads. They have a choice to live wherever they want. You know what's important? Choose what lifestyle you're going to live. Set the benchmark of holiness for yourself. Transmit that to your loved ones. You need to create the environment in which you want to live around you, even if you happen to be living in a place which as that time was as morally inhospitable and hostile to Yaakov's way of life as Egypt. Yaakov transformed the immediate environment he was living in to be an environment that was holy, that was pristine, that was godly, and that's why those years were the best years in his life. Will you and I follow that lead and create the best possible environment for ourselves, for our children, for our loved ones, for those around us? Let's do it. Let's make sure we're ingesting the right things into our mind, learn more Torah. Let's make sure we're creating an aura of goodness by doing good things. Let's do more mitzvahs. Let's make sure we're hanging out with the right people. We're hanging out in the right environment. Let's create an environment around us. Wherever we live, let's make it a house of God, a godly garden, so that we can live in a moral way, in a godly way, in a joyous way, in a positive way, and make the world around us a better place. Amen.